Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of our show for the love of the game. Ako po si Ken Pangilinan at kasama ko hindi lang isa kundi dalawa sa aking co-host Dino Lee and the one-arm mamba Miss Kat Tansu. Hi guys! Kumusta naman kayo?
Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Okay naman.
Alam mo ako, gusto ko kamustahin si Kat particularly kasi of course, despite may episode tayo ngayon, we all know yung nangyari last year. It's an untimely death of one of the most iconic sports figures sa larangan ng basketball. Of course, the legend, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant, passed away. So, Kat, since ikaw, you've met him, sorry di kita paiyak, baka maumiyak ka naman. Seriously.
Sigilan ko na nga ngayon.
Ayun, you've met him numerous times and you've dove into his life kahit papano, his mindset, ganyan. So, yun lang, share mo lang. Like, of course, sobrang malapit sa puso mo yan eh.
Oo, kumbaga sana first love ko rin aside sa basketball. Pero no, I've been quite emotional since yesterday. But yeah, ano naman yun eh. Actually, it's more of like celebrating his life and also his daughter. So, yeah, gaya ng syempre kailangan you have to toughen it up diba? Parang Mamba mentality. You have to go for it and show up no matter what. So yeah, here I am, guys. All smiles. It's okay.
Oo nga, saka naalala kong kwento ni Kobe, kahit kalimbawa, maglasing kayo hanggang madaling araw, gigising kayo 4 a.m. to practice, di ba? So I think same goes up, kahit papano same goes applies here eh. And Dino, I'm sure ikaw din, you've had your Kobe memories as a Spurs fan, kahit di ba kalaban ng Spurs, but grabe, iba talaga si Kobe, di ba?
Iba. Yeah, I think Kat is has already shared what has to be shared kasi syempre siya yung mas malapit kaysa sa atin, di ba? But
naman.
So it's one year death anniversary in Kobe, so yun.
Ayan, so for sure kayo rin somehow, some way na-touch yung life yun ni Kobe. And ito, yung special guest namin for tonight, big fan din ito ni Kobe Bryant. So tunghayan nyo ito. But before that, of course, yung mga viewers natin ngayon na naka-tune in, thank you so much. Lalo yung mga episode 2, episode 1 pa lang nanonood, Arsenic Salangsang, of course, comes to mind, Gab Ferreras, sila Vance Clarin, John Maverick Cheng, ayan yung mga yan. So maraming salamat and for sure, marami kayong matututunan dito sa ating special guest for tonight. And before we even go further, acknowledge lang natin mga previous guests natin, Dino, of course, Jamie Lim sa Inspire Academy, Calamba. Medyo iffy yung Olympics sa Japan. May mga rumors na hindi matutuloy, but grabe, the grind for them continues. And of course, sa Gilas, Coach Sandy Reyes Pacochaga, assistant coach. Yun na nga, na-miss out natin yung hosting dito sa due to travel restrictions, due to COVID. So, but nagpupukpok pa rin sila. So, Coach Sandy, Jamie, if you're watching, we're wishing you good luck sa inyong mga endeavors. We're behind you. The For the Love of the Game is behind you sa inyong mga gustong gawin para sa ating bansang Pilipinas. So, ayan. So, Kat, of course.
Yeah, to all our viewers and followers, of course, we encourage you to like and share this episode on your page. So, sobrang sabi nga ni Ken, given I'm a huge Kobe fan and our special guest tonight is a Kobe fan as well. I'm excited na maraming matututunan din yung mga viewers natin tonight. So, yeah, for everyone, I would like you guys to like, follow, and subscribe to our social media platforms. So we are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. It's at For the Love of the Game PH, and we are also on Twitter at FTLOTGPH. And here's the good news. Finally, we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Anchor. So you can just type in
Low-key lang.
Yeah.
Low-key lang. Isang episode pa lang eh. Episode 1 pa lang. Upload pa natin, iba.
We will be having we will be uploading the episodes But yeah, you can just type in FTLOTG to find us. So make sure to subscribe in those. So there.
Yan.
Yan,
And
so
of
like,
course,
sige Tino.
hindi na tayo viewers lang, no? Kailangan may binabanggit na tayong listeners kasi syempre, pag
Yeah,
pinakinggan tayo, bakit puro viewers? Eh, nakikinig lang sila. So,
the subscribers they well
yeah,
you
tama, tama. Pwede naman.
can so yeah there.
Ayun na nga. So, yun na nga. Isa pa lang episode namin. Actually, kaming dalawa ni Dino pa lang yun. So, if you guys are up to it, kung nasa kotse kayo, wala kayong magawa, nagda-drive kayo, pakinggan nyo kami sa Spotify. Learn kung bakit ginawa namin ni Dino ito. It's, ano yun eh, mga 2 hours din yung episode na yun. But, marami kayong... ako, syempre, bias ako. Masaya ako, pinakinggan ko yun. Pero, sana mapakinggan nyo kasi ano eh, humble beginnings talaga ito. And we're so grateful to all of you guys na naka-tune in palagi. Hindi naman namin akalain na episode 27 na nga. Entitled Nonstop, featuring our special guest for tonight. So, yun na nga. Kung kayo, meron kayong shout-out questions, kasi ako, ang dami kong tanong dito sa ating special guest kasi we'll be tackling sports law, given that he's a sports lawyer. So, please, and share nyo na rin, what are you excited about this episode? So, libre po ang comment section para dyan. So, syempre, sulitin nyo na yan. Libreng katanungan niya yan. Yung mga curiosity nyo around sports law, sa football, sa mga published works niya. So, yan. This is an opportunity for you to keep in touch and yun, makausap itong ating special guest for tonight. So, Dino.
Ayan, of course, especially for our first-time listeners and first-time viewers natin right now, we just want to share our mission then. Para at least you get a picture of what we're trying to do here as a podcast. Because there's a lot of sports podcasts out there. There's a lot of sports shows out there. But I guess what makes us different is we invite the cream of the crop of the sports community, from the stars to the legends to the game changers. No, we invite them to actually share their story. And, our mission is, from their stories, from their lessons, from their experiences, it inspires possibilities for all of you guys out there that's watching or listening in this episode. So yun, so help us spread the word by liking and sharing this episode. Tulungan nyo kami because we know that we can't do it alone. We need your support. So yun, spread the love so that we can inspire more people, inspire possibilities for people that struggle in life, just like me, Ken, and Kat. We learn from all of these people na sobrang dami na achieve, no? Halata, hindi naman ganun kagaling yung guest natin, di ba? Yun talaga kinaption ko kasi hindi naman talaga ganun kagaling. Kasi pag nakita yung credentials, baka konti lang para sa inyo, di ba? But before we actually bring them in, we have certain rules of engagement here sa podcast namin. And one of them is, especially this is exclusive para dun sa mga live viewers natin, kasi pag naparod mo na listen in mo na sa podcast, wala na siya, di ba? Hindi ka na makakapag-interact. But that's what is really different about us, is we want to interact with you guys that's watching us right now live. So one of the things that you can do is actually appreciate our guests. Kasi sa sobrang galing nitong guest natin, or maybe you've worked with this person, you've been inspired by this person, kasi may friend ako, di ba? Na inspirasyon niya dito, law student siya. Siyempre, top-notcher itong guest natin. So one of the things is be able to appreciate our guests for tonight. And by commenting down below, para makita rin ng guest natin, kung if you want to introduce yourself, you can as well. And second is you can share your learnings. Maraming hugot itong guest natin, marami siyang lessons, marami siyang experiences all throughout his journey. And I'm sure you're gonna learn so much from him. Ako marami na akong questions naka-ready na nasa isip ko ngayon, because I want to learn from this person how he manages to excel at a high level in all things that he does. And last but not the least, ayan, so perfect to sa mga law students, no? Gusto mag-top, di ba? Nag-aasam mag-top notcher, or nag-aasam to be an elite athlete as well, or you want to be a game changer in your own industry, di ba? He's a game changer in his own industry. It's a perfect opportunity to actually ask questions, no? How to be a game changer, how to top the board, di ba? Anong secret formula, di ba? Pwede nyo itanong later tonight. So guys, please engage with us. Yeah, may nagko-comment na down below. Thank you so much. Excited, looking forward to engaging not just with our special guest for tonight, but also our viewers for tonight. Yan.
Ayan, so Kat, unahin na kita. I'm sure excited ka rin. Ano ba nakaka-excite sa ating special guest para ngayong gabi?
Na-excite ako kasi I just found out na he's a big K-drama and IU fan.
Ay, ganun
No,
pala, ganun. Ano ba yun?
ganun lang kaya ko, Ken, eh. Pang-isa lang, Ken, sorry. No. Actually, yeah, it's the same, how he balance his job and also his sport, and also I wanna learn from yun nga, sports law. So hindi siya ano siya, so bago siya sa akin, eh. So I really wanna learn from that, and yeah, it's just sobrang I have a great feeling na, we will have a great conversation tonight. So there.
Yun.
Yun. So, before ko i-introduce yung ating special guest for tonight, shoutout lang sa previous guest natin, Coach Gika Bernabe, who's watching.
Yun.
Well, naka-quarantine pa rin yan.
Naka-quarantine pa si Coach Gika.
Germany. So, Coach
Yeah.
Gika,
Nakausap ko lang siya
ingat ka
kanina.
dyan. So,
Hindi ko pa pwede bisitahin eh. So, mukhang naka-quarantine pa siya.
Ayan. So, Dino, wag na nating patagalin pa. Introduce na nating ating special guest for tonight. Kung makita nyo itong credentials niya, mapapasana #all kayo dito. Dahil napakarami, gaya ng binanggit ni Dino. So, of course, he's a distinguished sports lawyer here in the Philippines and associate of law firm of Ingles, Laurel, Calderon. He's a book author, and recently he launched his novel entitled Alinam. Of course, pinublish din niya yung laws for sports and the Sporty and tax made less taxing. He was a professor of Ateneo sa School of Law. And yun na nga, gaya ng binanggit ng fiancé ko, top 1 sa Philippine Bar Examination back in 2012. And bukod doon, he's a 3-time UAAP men's football champion noong 2004 to 2006. So, ayan, napaaraming credentials. So, before we bring him in, please watch this trailer.
Nung high school po kasi hindi naman ako masyadong nerdy po. Athletics po yung kinoconcentratean ko po. Somewhere down the line, I wanna see how the different aspects of law in the Philippines can apply to the context of sports. Through God's grace, I got to top the bar. There's no secret.
Please welcome our special guest for tonight, the one and only attorney Mickey Ingles.
Hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Yun.
good evening. Good evening,
Attorney.
Mickey.
Good evening, Mickey. Yan, di na pala attorney. Mickey na lang.
Oh, Mickey na lang daw, eh. Yeah, so
Oops, parang siya.
Naglag yata siya, no?
Yeah.
Naglag.
yeah.
Ayan.
Yeah, attorney? Ay, Mickey?
Yes, Mickey.
Kamusta naman, Mickey? How are you?
Yeah,
How are you during?
Good, I'm good. I'm just worried about the internet as usual.
Ayan. Sana for this 2 hours that we're with you, sana makisundo sa atin yung internet ng Pilipinas, di ba? Yeah.
Let's go.
And of course, yeah. Let's go Converge. Converge ka ba, ano?
Ako din, Converge din ako.
Converge, yeah.
Okay. Yan. Eto, may nagparamdam na. Of course, we just wanna run through certain comments. Ayan, Mamba mentality, of course. As we were talking about the late Kobe Bryant earlier on. Of course, babatiin ko lang si Arsenic tuning in since episode 2. We're at episode 27. So that means he's been watching live since episode 2. 26 episodes na yan straight. And of course, from Gab Ferreras, hi Attorney Mickey, Gab of Sports Corner PH here. Salamat for always keeping up to date about sports law. Lagi ako nagbabasa ng mga article related to it. Maybe you wanna shout that.
Thank you, Gab.
Yan.
Thank you, Gab. Thank you. Thanks for always commenting sa mga pinapost namin.
Okay. Perfect. Ayan, yung fiancé mo, Ken, no? Di ko
Ay,
kinaya.
fiancé, hindi.
Di ba
Asawa ko
asawa
din.
niya?
Asawa na pala. Sorry. Asawa na pala. Kinasal naman. Sorry. Yun kasi naalala ko di ba? Yung, So yun, di ko kinaya yung top 1 sa bar exam. Yan. And of course, ayan,
Thank
episode
you.
20, yan, from, teammate natin yan, si Kathy, episode 27, excited to hear Attorney Mickey's story. Yan. Tapos, of course, from our guest, nung episode, pakilan to, I forgot pero
20.
20, from the coach of the NU, who has been dominating the cheerleading competition sa UAP, Gika Bernabe, sports lawyer. Yan. And of course, I don't know if
Miss Gika.
kilala, yan. Hindi ko alam kung kilala ni attorney to, OG Sports Law guy.
Yeah.
All caps.
Si Kiko was my thesis advisee, and he had a topic on sports law. Student ko yun yan sa sports law in Ateneo. He's a lawyer now. So, hello, Attorney Kiko. Thank you sa discount dun sa Apple Cart Philippines.
Wow. Yan.
Product
Alright.
placement kagad eh.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, ito pag nagbanggit tayo Mickey, dapat may swear jar tayo dino eh. Ay, Mickey, ng attorney pala.
Ng
Dapat
attorney.
Mickey lang.
Attorney Jar.
Attorney jar. So yan,
Tama.
Mickey, of course, thank you very much for gracing our episode. So, of course, yun nga, 2020 was a tough year for all of us. But for you, nung October, particularly, you launched your novel entitled Alinam. So, ayun, pang just share around it lang kasi I'm sure hindi naging madali yung book launch, the process behind writing it, the process yung conceptualizing rather that novel. So, yun lang, just share with our viewers lang like what is it all about and how did you come around with it?
Okay, alright, so that's a good question. So, Alinam, I started writing it in 2009. So, matagal na yan.
Yeah.
It's been 11 years since I started writing it. I wrote it when I was in law school, when I was in second year law school. And at the time kasi, so second year law school, that's one of the toughest years in law school kasi you have a lot of like major subjects. And at the same time na I was going through that, I was also planning a wedding with my wife, with my then fiance.
Yeah.
So it was very stressful and I just needed a way to have a creative release. So I started writing about yung protagonist si Diego Domingo. Tapos meron akong Funko Pop niya. Right there.
Ayan.
So si by AV Customs.
Pina-customize mo talaga yung characters ng Alinam.
Yeah, magaling yan. Magaling si Avram. So shout out to AV Custom Funko Pops on Instagram for making the Diego Domingo Funko Pop. So I started writing in 2009. Tapos natapos ko siya yung first draft in 2014 when I was living in Boston. And then a lot of revisions and then maraming ring rejections from different Filipino publishers, different foreign agents when I was shipping the manuscript around. Thankfully, in 2018, a friend connected me to Summit Books, sila Leo Mangubat, ganyan. And then they loved the story. They really liked the story. And then from there, we were working on it. 2019 dapat yung launch nito eh. But for business considerations, hindi natuloy. And then 2020, January, I met with them again. Sabi nila, go na natin to. So the launch was supposed to be talaga like a physical launch in one of the big book events.
Right.
But because of the pandemic, we held an online launch, which I guess worked out well as well. Kasi during the ECQ, yung start ng lockdown, since they stopped school in Ateneo for the time, I had more time to make the necessary revisions to the story. So yung Alinam, it's about these three teenagers who were in an urban adventure. Alam mo yung ginagawa ng mga students before, magagala-gala lang, ganyan.
Correct.
So they did an urban adventure in Binondo, in a Chinese restaurant there, and then they fall through a portal. From Manila, they landed to Alinam, right? So alam niyo na kung bakit Alinam, diba? Kasi,
yeah.
Ako alam ko, ewan ko yung dalawa.
Nagets na. So they land there and then they figure out na it's not pala the normal kind of city kasi may mga aswang, may mga tikbalang going around, and then all they want to do is get back home. But while they're there, they experience things that teenagers normally experience, like first love, first heartbreak, and then they get embroiled in a political controversy involving the person in power there. So it kind of reflects what's happening here in Manila. but in a way, it's written as an allegory. Kasi nga, it's a fiction, young adult fiction novel. It's kind of like Harry Potter and Everywhere. So when you're reading it, you get to realize, ganyan talaga dito sa Philippines, or ganyan talaga sa London, or wherever you're from. So it's a fun read, and people who've read it so far have been liking it.
Right. So later on, share ni attorney kung saan yung mapipick up yung Alinam, di ba?
Sure.
So, kabaliktaran, gets yun na kung ano yun.
Gets na.
Attorney, of course, this isn't, di ba, parang Alinam isn't actually the first book that you wrote. And there are apparently two others, which is the nasa likod mo, Law for Sports and the Sporty, and of course yung Taxmate Less Taxing. Tapos may parang different, may subcategory yun eh. Was there anything different about launching Alinam as compared to the other two books that you launched previously? Meron bang differences? And were there challenges or setbacks? And maybe as an author, parang what was the lessons that you picked up along the way?
So differences definitely. Kasi when you're writing a law book, for anyone who's written like a law book, it's not like it's something original. I mean, it's original because you're putting it into a way that will make it easier for everyone to understand. But may pinaghuhugutan ka eh. Pinaghuhugutan mo yung laws, pinaghuhugutan mo yung mga Supreme Court decisions, ganyan. So, you're just in a way organizing the thoughts. And you're organizing it a way that the students will find it easier to study. But when it comes to a fiction book, invento lahat eh, right? So you have to invent your own rules, you have to invent your own world, invent your own story. And in a way that's both difficult and also liberating. It's difficult because creativity needs some limits eh. And I believe that to be creative, you have to be constrained kasi you're trying to work within those constraints, right? You're trying to figure out what can I do within these limits. So that was the fun part, but creating the limits was hard. And creating a story that makes sense, that's logical, and that's something believable, it's pretty difficult. So when I was writing this, to answer your second question on what I've learned, I've had a greater appreciation for novelists that we've all read in like Neil Gaiman, J.K. Rowling, everyone who's served as an inspiration for me writing. Kasi mahirap siya eh. It involves a lot of self-doubt. It involves a lot of self-reflection. Parang, kaya ko ba to? Parang, may magbabasa ba nito? Especially after numerous rejections that I got when shipping out my manuscript. Yeah. So it's a lot of self-doubt. Pero you just have to keep going talaga.
You have to be, I think, pag mga ganun, you have to be imaginative eh. No? Parang, being creative is something to your imagination and having it like written in a book. So, which is more fun in writing? Which book was more enjoyable for you to write?
More enjoyable. I think Alinam was more enjoyable because I get to invent things. But people who read my tax book, kasi tax is a very dry subject. I mean, not so fun, di ba? But the way I try to make it fun for the readers and fun for myself writing it, I put a lot of mga pop culture references.
Right.
So yung Tax Made Less Taxing, there are 2 editions already. The 3rd edition is coming out this year. Yung first edition niya, a lot of mga zombie references. Kasi mahilig ako sa zombies dati. Yung second edition, maraming sports references, tsaka Hamilton. Third edition, maraming mga K-drama, tsaka K-pop.
There you go.
References.
There
my personality.
Just to make it interesting for other people.
Right. Now, I'm curious, attorney, sabi mo parang, despite all the rejections, you kept on going. What was your drive? Parang what kept you going that despite all of these rejections, hindi, papublish ko tong mga books na to, I'm gonna make this happen. Kasi, di ba, merong times, like, for me, parang when I say something, di ko na nagagawa or hindi ko na follow through. Pag may rejection, siyempre, masakit eh. Di ba? Parang people don't appreciate the effort that you put in. Like, what kept you on going for these books?
Well, for the law books, wala masyadong rejection kasi medyo good to go kagad with Rex Rex Books, my publisher, they've been very supportive, especially with the sports law book. When I floated the idea to them, they were immediately parang, oh, game na natin yan. It's something
Wow.
new. It's something
Right.
that will be, will hopefully people will buy the book and read it. When it came to Alinam naman, when I was writing the story for so many years, rejection wasn't really in my mind. What was in my mind is like, I'm having fun doing this. And I'm
Mm.
sure if you're an athlete, you understand that when you're having fun doing something, parang you're in the zone. Right? Like,
Right.
Kat, I'm sure when you're playing basketball, parang you're in the zone, di ba? Wala ka nang ibang naiisip that, and you always want to go back to that point of parang pure focus. And when I'm writing, I feel that focus eh. It's the same focus I felt when I was a football player. Same focus I felt when I was studying for the bar. So when I was writing it, I just really liked being in that zone of creating and of creativity and imagination. So wala akong problem writing. The problem was when I was, yun nga, when I was getting constantly rejected by foreign agents, by some local publishers here. What kept me going is I just wanted people to have a chance to read my work. Yun lang. I mean, I even started publishing it on Wattpad, chapter per chapter na until chapter 19, just to get the story out because I believe that it was a good story.
Yeah.
It was fun writing, and I'm sure people have fun reading it. So that's what kept me lang, pushing it to other people.
Right. Galing.
I think it's no, when you believe in something talaga, like no matter what, that will be your drive to, be successful in it, to,
Yeah,
pursue
definitely.
that. Yeah, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
important for everyone. One of the yung takes ko dun sa sinabi niya is that when you love what you're doing and you believe in it, you just go for it, diba? So
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. And when it comes to writing kasi, when I was getting parang a bit discouraged because of all the rejections, I remember I would follow kasi si J.K. Rowling and si Neil Gaiman on Twitter,
Right.
and I follow their
Right.
writing blogs. They said lang talaga, look, just because a book just because a story doesn't find an audience, or just because a story doesn't get published, doesn't mean it's a bad story. Just because a
Oh.
book makes money doesn't make it a good story, diba? Not necessarily. What's important is that you finish what you start, and that if you start
Yun.
writing, you finish what you start. You finish your writing, right? Because a lot of people say, "Look, I want to be a writer, or I wanna be an artist, I want to be a lawyer," right? Um, it's easy to say things, right? And it's easy to start things, but you're not a writer until you finish what you write. So that was
Correct.
my main motivation. I want to be a writer. I want to be an author. So tapusin natin yan, di ba? Mahirap siya, madali magsimula eh. But it's the everyday talaga, the discipline of doing this, doing that, doing that. And then finally matapos mo yung first draft. That's a big achievement on its own. So that's,
Right.
again, one of my main motivations.
Finish what you start. Yeah.
yes. Oo, madami kasi rin na iba, 'di ba? Parang sa simula lang eh. Tapos wala nang
Yeah.
follow through.
Correct.
Kasi madali ma-inspire eh. Madali ma-inspire,
Yeah.
pero mahirap to keep the inspiration going, right? So that's
The
where discipline,
process that you go through every day, and kasi
definitely.
bawat you go through challenges, 'di ba? Like
Yeah.
how you did. So many people who are feeling not so motivated at times. Parang yun na yung magbi-bring down sa kanila. But for you, it just kept you going, and yeah, that's one of the things I really admire you. About, like, ang dami na ako, inspired na ako, Dino and Ken. Sobrang,
Actually, Kat, di ba,
let's get it on.
you're a Kobe fan, di ba?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
one of the things I got talaga from Kobe, and since today's like a Kobe day, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I got from him was he had this podcast interview in 2019, which kind of affirmed what I've been trying to do. Sabi niya doon, the one of the most dangerous things that you can do is to negotiate with yourself, right?
Right.
So self-negotiation is one of the most dangerous things that you can do with yourself, especially if you want to achieve something or if you want to get from one point to another. So what's self-negotiation? Sabi ni Kobe, it's like when you told yourself, I'm gonna run 15 laps around the oval. Tapos pag-abot mo ng 13 laps, sabihin mo, okay na yan, yung 2 laps gagawin ko na lang tomorrow. That's self-negotiation, right?
Correct.
And for me, who's a huge believer in doing things talaga every day to get things done, that's a big part. Kasi it's not easy to write, it's not easy to teach or to practice law. But if, for me, I'm not, I try my best not to negotiate with myself to break my streak or to break what I'm writing or not to finish the things. So that's one of the things that really struck me and stuck with me when it comes to Kobe, yung the dangers of self-negotiation.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think we all need that. Actually, madaming matututunan from Kobe. So, let's
Kobe
move
interview
on.
na lang tayo. Kobe na.
Let's move on from that kasi baka this will be a teary episode for me. So no,
Medyo
but
guilty
yeah.
ako dun,
Oo,
renegotiating with yourself.
dami kasi yung gano'n, eh, malapit ka na ta's hindi kaya ko pa, bukas na lang. 'Di ba merong mga
Bukas na
gano'n,
lang.
'di ba? Bukas na lang,
Yeah.
may ano pa naman 'yan. Yeah. So, yeah, it's something go guys.
Speaking,
Medyo
ano ba?
nag-aano na yung voice ko, eh, kasi
Nagka-crack na ba?
nagka-crack. It's slightly cracking because talking about it's just like talking about him, and it's really hits it really hits me hard. But yeah, every day he just motivates me to be a better person, not just with my craft, with what I do, but as a person. Kasi parang siya, like, he is more than like an athlete, diba? After he played basketball, he discovered na, you know what, I could be good at this and I will be good at
Yeah.
this. Diba? So, yun parang yung motivation that you give to yourself, yun yung that will also make you make you successful in the end, make you, be great. So, yeah. Ken?
Yeah, definitely. At saka for me, I mean, one of the reasons why I was so affected when Kobe died, kasi I'm not a basketball player, right? And I was a Spurs fan as well and a Celtics fan.
Yun.
So, si Kobe wasn't talaga someone I looked up to as a player. But what I liked about him was his transition from basketball player to a writer, right? So parang
Yes,
I kind of saw
exactly.
that with myself na parang, I used to be a student athlete, right? And then, nahirapan talaga ako yung transitioning na, okay, wala na akong morning practices, wala na akong teammates to push me to do better. And then, you see Kobe, diba? Top of his game, best player in the world for so many years. And then he retires, and then immediately, he starts winning awards, starts writing so many books, diba? Starts a media empire. Diba? That's an inspiration for all athletes na we are really more than just athletes. Diba?
True. Very true, very true. Yeah.
Correct.
Ayan, so guys, abangan nyo yung Alinam kasi ako, feeling ko magiging movie to eh. Ito nagmamanifest na ako. Sa Netflix,
Yeah.
lumabas yan eh. Kasi,
Excited din dun eh.
upon Mickey's, like, summary of what the book is all about, may entice ka talaga eh. Di ba? So, I think, yun, for sure, magiging, kung di movie, baka miniseries siguro sa Netflix. We'll see, no? I'm sure that's something na gusto mo rin mangyari, di ba?
Game ako dyan.
Yun.
Ayun, so yan, binanggit mo na nga, Mickey, you were also a football player. So medyo backtrack tayo, no? Kasi
Sure.
football ba yung first love mo? And if not, what other sports did you try back when you were a kid?
Football ever since. Started playing football when I was 3 or I was 4 with Ateneo Football Center. So ever since.
Was
Was
there someone who like influenced you in playing the sport?
My dad and my brother, my older brother. So I come talaga from a family na puro nagfo-football yung mga guys.
Okay. I see. Then when did you decide na parang I want to do this competitively and seriously? Maybe was
first
it your
year high
dad?
school.
Was it your dad or brother or on your own mo siya dinecide?
Well, parang you don't really decide anything when you're a kid, diba? I mean,
Right.
you're supposed to play.
You just go with
so first
the
year
flow.
high school, go with the flow, ganyan. when you're having fun, that's what you choose. So that's what I chose when I was in first year high school. To play football for Ateneo.
Mhm.
So, yun. And it worked out naman.
Oo nga,
Right,
tatlong
right,
sunod na championship lang naman, no?
Naka-curious din ako na like is there a time that when you see yourself like syempre before you go to a game or how do you like fire up, how do you fuel your parang syempre do you know how good you are in playing football, like when was the turning point na parang you know what, galing ko parang like I'm great and I'm a great football player. So, yeah, well,
um, it's hard. It's hard to. I don't think I ever said that, pero out loud. Pero
out
my
loud.
mentality talaga.
Yeah.
My mentality going into each game is that I'm gonna be the best player that I can be, right? Saka it just it was just really fun for me. And what's funner for me playing is winning. So I'd always want to get that high of winning, right?
Mm.
And I always wanted to do things properly in the field, and I got that from my teammates. Like I had a teammate, si Pato Zaita, um, multiple years siyang MVP namin, Rookie of the Year, Best Defensive Player. So he won all of the awards. And sobra ako na-inspire sa kanya because every time he stepped into practice, no self-negotiations, no cutting corners. Kung sinabi ng coach, drills na 15 times, gagawin niya 15. Right? Drills na 20 times 20. And that's what I like seeing. That's what I like. That's where I got inspiration from my teammates. And syempre, when you're playing for Ateneo, you just wanna make your school proud and you wanna make everyone proud. I'm sure the same thing when you're playing for LaSalle or FEU.
correct.
Yeah, speaking of making the school proud, before you went on to win 3 state championships, parang may drought yung Ateneo nun di ba? Parang when you came in, parang they haven't won for 5 years, tama ba? So, parang,
Yeah, last win natin nila was 99 or 98.
yeah, so, well,
Tagal.
before all of that, like, nung pumasok ba kayo, like, did you have expectations ba na upon winning your first na, hindi, talaga makukuha namin to, or was it something na talagang pinagtrabahuan nyo talaga, unexpected?
Oh, trabaho talaga. Well, rookie year namin, when I was in first year, we were second to the last sa UAAP.
Right.
We didn't do that well. But when I was in second year, yeah, we had some changes in the culture, changes in the mentality, changes into how we approached practice, how we became more serious. So when I was in second year, yung brother ko yung captain, tapos co-captain ako. And then we started talaga na parang, and that's when si Pato Zaita came in. He was a rookie at the time. And everything gelled. Like the seniors, they became more mature. Kaming mga sophomores, kasi we were a highly touted rookie batch, kasi 6 kami na diretso sa starting lineup. We matured as well. And then, yun yung season na you didn't think you'd win a championship, but we just kept winning games. Tapos pag-abot sa championship, kalaban namin UP, which is a super strong team. Parang they were in the championship games mga 5 straight times before we came along. And then we beat them, right? A tough game. For me, being a Michael Jordan fan, I always saw it as like the Bulls finally getting over the hump of the Pistons. And it gave us really confidence moving forward. Parang ganun. So yun yung first championship. Second championship, we beat UST. Pag-abot sa third, parang ito we didn't want to say it out loud then. We were really gunning for a three-peat. Tapos we were also going for a sweep. Kasi buong season, wala kaming talo until... lahat ng games panalo. Except yung last game namin, we were supposed to win the championship straight out with a sweep. And then LaSalle played super defensive to get a draw. So nag-draw kami last game and then championship, LaSalle yung kinalaban namin and then we beat them.
Right. Wow.
Galing.
Yeah. Given
Super fun.
given yung three-peat run na yun, Mickey, was there a parang a big takeaway mo dun na was there a big takeaway from that journey of being a three-peat UAP football with Ateneo? And nadala mo ba siya? Kasi ngayon, of course, you're not playing football na like you used to sa college. May nadala ka ba from that experience to where you are now as a sports lawyer?
Yeah, definitely. Siguro three main takeaways. And these are the three takeaways that our coach would always tell us when we were practicing. First takeaway is always value preparation. Right? Always value preparation. So whether it's training, basketball, football, you really win championships not when everyone's watching. You win it within the practice arena, the practice stadium. So that's something I've never taken for granted, practice. Same thing when it comes to being a law student. When I was a law student and now as a lawyer, I really value practice. To the point that when I was a law student, the times I would do my readings or do my homework, I would consider it practice. And then yung game na iniisip ko would be the time na we're in class and then the teacher would start asking us recitation questions and quizzes. Those were the games. Tapos yung championship para sa akin yung bar exam. So that was my mindset for it. And it all came from football. So practice was the first takeaway. The second takeaway is you focus on one game at a time. Right? Lalo na kasi people ask parang, oh, how did you manage to win 3 straight championships? It's not, and I always tell them, it's not like first game of our first championship season, sabi namin, oy, mag-3-peat. And it's the same thing eh. Kasi people always ask parang, oh, when I'm studying for the bar, sabihin ko ba na gusto ko mag-top ng bar? Sige, you can say that, but if you're gonna put that kind of pressure on yourself na mag-3 straight championships ka or mag-number 1 ka sa bar amidst 8,000 other people, it's gonna be overwhelming, right? So you just focus on what's in front of you. You focus on the game at hand. You focus on whatever stuff you have to do, right, to get where you want to go. So that's the second takeaway. Third takeaway is, and I think this is super important for everyone, you only try to control the things that you can control.
Wow.
And that's your effort. And then the results, you can never control results. Especially, I know you guys are sports fans. Right. Everyone tries hard playing sports, right?
Yeah.
But not everyone wins. Same thing with law school. Not everyone will pass even if you're trying really hard, or not everyone will pass the bar or top the bar, right? But in the end, once you realize that results are super random in the end, and then you get to control your efforts or the effort that you put in, whatever results that may come and go, you'll be satisfied with what you did. In the end, if you measure yourself not based on results but based on effort, you'll be a happier person to begin with. Yeah, 3 takeaways which I've used in my life. Nakuha ko lahat yun dahil sa soccer.
Wow. So, preparation, tapos understand, yung focus on one step at a time. And the third one is
effort. Control what you can control.
Control what you can control.
Yeah.
Effort, not results. Effort, not results.
Not results.
Correct. I totally agree with Attorney Miggy. Kasi pag attach ka sa result, pag di mo siya nakuha, automatic you'll be disappointed eh. But if I focus my attention on effort ko, alam kong binigay ko lahat, I can somewhat live with the result. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I've known a lot of people, lalo when it comes to the bar exam.
Yeah.
They get disappointed na hindi sila nag-top 10. Pero naging abogado naman sila. Diba? So parang, why are you sad? I mean, number 1, the whole top 1 to top 10, we're the only country that does that. Like other countries, other jurisdictions, you just pass the bar. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
Parang, we're so kasi with it. And I understand why. Kasi mahirap talaga yung bar exam, right?
Right.
But the point is, we want to be lawyers, right? Yung pagiging top 1, I mean, it's a good thing to have it's a good thing to put wherever to be called it. But in the end, we're all just lawyers. Right?
Yeah, parang ang ano doon is what is your end goal, 'di ba? Parang
Yes.
Yeah.
your end goal is to be a lawyer. So I
Serve
mean,
people, no?
if you
Yeah.
are on the top 10 list, kumbaga ano na lang yan eh, plus na lang yan eh. But then
Plus na lang siya.
at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you're a lawyer. So there's something to be happy about. And
Yeah.
'di ba, parang well, I guess ano yun eh, parang being Filipinos, we are competitive.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. Pero yeah, some people kasi they pressure themselves sila lang, as in, 'di ba? So they give pressure to themselves na they miss out on what is really important or what is,
True.
the bigger picture.
Right.
So yeah, there.
Yan, of course,
I
speaking
agree.
of being a top-notcher, no, baka student din ni Mickey. Kyle Chan, idol.
Klase ko yan, si Kyle.
Kaklase yan, kaklase mo lang.
Klase ko yan.
Baka gusto
Idol
mo,
ko rin yan si Kyle.
kaklase mo sa law school or...
Sa law school, yeah. Sa law school.
Yan, yan.
Hi, Kyle.
Yun. Yan, may nag-message din sa akin nakilala eh. Nakilala rin si attorney.
Si Coach Sandy Respochaga also tuning in. So, Coach Sandy, ayan.
Hi, Coach.
For sure, magkakilala yan.
Ateneo, ano eh, oo, magkakakilala.
Baka mainis na naman si Dino yan, ha?
Okay na tayo last episode. Nakapag na tayo, Lasalya na tayo. Medyo na hinakot na ako kasi medyo, or puro Ateneo, medyo nag-i-strict sila eh. Hindi ko alam, hirap tayo makakuha ng Tagalasal, no? Parang naisip ko, mas approachable tuloy ang mga Atenista. Yung nakikita ko.
Hindi ako nagsabi niyan, ha?
Mickey, before we move on to you becoming a lawyer, yun ang matanong ko lang, like, how would you describe yourself as a player back then? Kasi syempre, during your time, I don't know if televised na yung games. Tapos from what you describe kasi your journey sa mga championships, naalala ko 2002 championship ng Ateneo sa basketball eh. Kasi yun, parang for the longest time, di sila champion, I think 13 years. Tapos sa inyo naman, 5 years, di kayo champion. Tapos you turned around your your school rather. So, in your case, like, yun lang, how were you as a player? Sobrang competitive ka ba? Sobrang, kumbaga, nagma-mind games ka ba sa mga kalaban mo? Ganun.
Na-trash talk.
Oh.
I used to trash talk before when I was in the first year and second year. And then I realized na it wasn't helping my focus playing the game. So that's part of the maturity as a player. Before kasi kasi football before was super rough. I would really take it personal, lalo kung kilala kita, in-injure mo ako no first game, babalikan kita ganyan. I realized it wasn't helping my focus. Kasi I was I think my teammates and my opponents would know, I was a very intense player talaga. A very intense player.
Oops, parang nawala.
Player.
Yan.
Even if I'm short, I'm just like 5'2" or 5'3". My mentality, I'm the biggest guy in the field.
Yeah.
So that's how I would approach every game. So yeah, I was very competitive. I had to tone it down again a bit after UAAP because I would join other competitions. Parang sa law school kasi may conflicts of law eh.
Yes.
With other law schools.
Arellano, San Beda. Tama
Mga ganyan.
Yeah.
I would play those games. Like yung first time ko maglaro dun, I was playing those games na mentality ko UAAP siya. So talagang sobrang intense. Sinisigawan ko yung teammates ko, ganyan. Di naman sila varsity before, di ba? Or, alam mo yun, so afterward pang nirealize ko, I have to take my competitive spirit somewhere else. Ganyan. So, hindi na ako naglaro after sa conflicts.
Saan nanggaling yung competitive, yung pagiging, yung mentality of something like that?
Intense.
Yung wanting to win.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Since I grew up talaga watching Michael Jordan films. I was in grade 5 when he retired and then came back. So that's the time na nag-iisip ka na eh, parang who do I wanna be, sino yung mga idol ko, tapos nag-attach ako kay Michael Jordan. Tapos,
Right.
so for me, hindi ka excellent unless umabot ka dun sa level ni Jordan, 3 championships, averaging 30 points per game. Right? And then diba he had a commercial na parang maybe it's my fault that I made it look also all too easy. So medyo nasira yung paniningin ko ng excellence because of Michael Jordan. Which is good because we try to be like him naman.
Tama. And then when The Last Dance came out, like for you, maybe at least what was your, kasi sobrang like you were describing yourself, you were an intense football player back in the day. And Michael Jordan was an intense player as shown in The Last Dance. Parang maybe what was your maybe thoughts around that and maybe your takeaway from it?
Well, I felt affirmed. I felt affirmed.
Na worth it yung paninigaw.
Na worth it siya. Although I kind of felt na other people might not appreciate it because a lot of his teammates, well, some of his teammates came out diba, in the aftermath of The Last Dance and said na it doesn't work for everyone. Kasi Tim Duncan wasn't like that. And then they still won a lot, right? And then LeBron isn't like that. Kobe was a bit like that and it worked for him. But I guess it just shows na there are a lot of pathways towards success. And there's no right or wrong way as long as you don't like cheat people or hurt people.
Yep.
Very true.
Wala naman dumating sa point na like Jordan may sinuntukan teammate or
Wala naman. Salita lang. I was very, very tough love with my teammates. But I mean, before naman kasi, we all knew what we wanted to get, right? And we knew what we had to do to get it. And that was talagang discipline, not take things for granted, have the highest level of fitness, play the hardest every game. Kasi we knew we weren't the most skilled team. We weren't the most talented team. Especially kalaban namin mga FEU who would get talaga everyone from Iloilo or UST who would get everyone from Bacolod or ganyan. So it was really hard for us to compete with them na talagang talent-wise. So we really had to outwork them. Outplay, and then with our coach, outsmart them.
Yeah. Correct.
So gets naman nila bakit.
Yep.
What was your position back then? Nasa offensive line ka ba nun?
Right wing ata siya if I'm
Right
not.
wing.
I was right wing, right midfielder. Minsan nagsa-striker but mostly in the right midfielder.
Right. Ayan, of course, we just want to shout out a couple of people. Of course, si John Maverick Cheng, no, may hashtag niya siya, no grind, no shine. Parang ngayon walang narinig to. Ngayon walang narinig it. So, watching us since episode 4, of course, John, he's still a high school student but he's tuning in sa episodes natin. Baka, John, gusto mo rin mag-blow, di ba? Yeah, di ba? And of course, from Vange Clarin, who's watching us since episode 24, sorry. Yung di mo magawang mag-comment kasi gusto mo lang makinig. Ayan. Yan. Thank you, Vange, for tuning in. Super appreciate. I hope you guys are, just like John, you guys are learning dito sa episode ni Mickey. Yan. Muntik na ako ma-attorney jar.
Attorney.
Yeah. So,
10 pesos,
Mickey,
10 pesos.
Ayan, 10 pesos. Ayan, nagsabi na si Mickey, 10 pesos.
Oo.
Yeah, so Mickey, you had a wonderful career sa football, of course. Tapos, no college ba or kailan mo ba na-realize na you wanted to become a lawyer?
Medyo default siya kasi my dad's a lawyer. So ever since I knew na I would eventually enter law school.
Right.
But I didn't enter immediately after college. Kasi after college, I lived in Shanghai for a while to study Chinese.
Right.
And to play there for a bit. And then I came back home. And then, doon ako nag-law school.
Correct. And you never had thoughts around playing pro football?
Yung sa national
parang,
team. Ganun.
Parang, pro football and, hindi siya nag-cross it never crossed your mind or you just said, I'm just gonna go law school after college. Kasi you had success, three-peat eh.
Yeah, well, yung national team, there were invitations when I was in college. Especially yung SEA Games, when the SEA Games was held here before
2005.
last SEA Games. 2005, yeah. Kasi that was my incoming senior year sa Ateneo College.
Right.
So yeah, we could have joined the national team, but parang I would have rather, and which I did, I'd rather train with Ateneo than with the national team kasi my focus talaga at the time was sa UAAP. And then after that, may mga ibang invitations, ganyan-ganyan, pero I didn't get to commit na because I wasn't here. When it comes to pro naman, so we were playing, after I graduated and came back from China, we were playing in the top league in the Philippines at that time, yung United Football League.
Right.
Hindi pa siya pro like the Premier Football League now. So yung UFL, dyan ang galing yung PFL. So these were the top teams talaga in the Philippines. Like, top teams pa nun were Air Force, yung mga military teams. Kasi yung Air Force at that time, 7 of their players were in the national team. And then, Kaya, until now, Kaya's there, diba?
Yeah.
And then
Kaya.
our team, Loyola, we would always be parang on the top 4, top 5 ng league. And then after a while, Loyola, when I was in law school na, so we were playing in Loyola in the top team, top league. And then after a while, when I was, I think, third year law school, Loyola partnered with Meralco. Tapos kinuha na nila yung Young Husbands.
Yeah.
And then yun, nagiging parang professional na talaga kasi may bayad na, ganyan-ganyan.
Right.
But that was the fourth year, my fourth year in law school, that was my review year. So yun, I really had to make a choice kasi practices were becoming more frequent and it wasn't na in Ateneo, it was being held in FEU. So I had to make a choice if I was gonna concentrate on law school or go back playing football at least at a higher level. At that time, I had to choose law school kasi review year ko na yun. It was like a year before my bar. And I knew naman na kasi if naman makakalaro ko sa Loyola, kaposisyon ko si James yung husband. He's like a foot taller than I am. So I really didn't have a chance na talaga. So at that point, I just concentrated na talaga on law.
I see.
Safe to say he made the right choice, no?
Yeah. Worked out in the end. Control what you can control.
Yes.
Ayun. Yeah, so Mickey, of course, you're an advocate of sports law here in the Philippines. Pero yun na nga, like you mentioned, hindi pa masyadong established eh. So, parang yung journey mo kasi, parang you always go to uncharted waters. Like for example, sa Alinam, parang hindi mo naman alam kung i-approve ng mga publishers, di ba? Like, in terms dito, ito on a bigger scale, sports law here in the Philippines talaga eh. So, what was your reason behind like pushing it dito sa Philippines and for pursuing it for yourself?
Well, it just really comes talaga from my background as an athlete before. I always believe talaga na what you're meant to do in life is a combination of what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and what can actually sustain your living. So I'm really passionate about sports. I'm good at law because I think I was good at law because I was affirmed by my grades. I mean, you shouldn't be affirmed by your grades, but it kind of gave me an inkling that look, I know the law, and then as a lawyer, it can sustain you. So I'm just trying to find that intersection of those three things. And that's sports law for me, and it's something I really enjoy. I enjoy building relationships with athletes who are now my friends, helping improve the situation of sports in the Philippines through creating legal structures and legal foundations for it. So there. So that's why I'm doing sports law.
Galing. So again, I think takeaway dyan is finding the balance between knowing what you're good at, knowing what you're passionate about, and knowing where you can sustain yourself. Yung parang financially.
Oh.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that's a perfect explanation of why you're doing what you're doing as of the moment. Galing.
But when you were like pursuing law, sports law, were you still playing actively football? I mean, on the side as a hobby or like kahit like minsan 'di ba when you're stressed out on something, meron kang outlet eh. So was football that thing for you
Yeah, football definitely until now.
until
Um,
now?
until now. I mean, until March of 2020, namatay ng pandemic.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, hahanapin mo talaga eh. I mean, kasi you've been living with a sport since you were how old? It's
3 years
not
old.
easy to let go of it, diba?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like right now, even if I don't play competitively na, I still like training on my own, like doing drills, getting better.
Right.
And that's my stress relief. And it's stress relief for me because I've realized na, kasi I'm doing a lot of things. And right now, because of social media,
Right.
there's a lot of noise with everyone, di ba?
Right.
Sports, when I step into a football field or where I start doing drills, ganyan, it's a form of meditation for me kasi you're just focused on one thing and that's just the ball and doing things right. So it's really mindfulness and it's something that I really crave and I really need to balance out everything that I'm doing, just playing sports. So kahit
Right.
ngayon na mag-isa lang ako, sometimes I do drills on my own,
Yeah.
speed ladder, wall drills,
Yeah.
ganyan.
Hindi mo na talaga maalis yun sa ano
Hindi na.
when you're an athlete talagang it's in your system.
Yeah.
Hanap-hanapin mo talaga yun eh, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Pwede
crave for
rin.
it. Ay,
Ball is life
mahirap.
talaga.
Pwede rin applicable din sa full off. Ball is life talaga.
Yeah.
Kahit anong ball pa yan, mapa soccer, basketball, football, and etc. Yan.
True.
Yeah.
Mickey, speaking of sports law, and I think the latter part, I stumbled upon you, nung latter part of 2020. Sabi ko, may sports law pala. And parang sa tagal na nag-exist yung Philippine Constitution or yung law, parang it's only during the pandemic that I found out about sports law. And maybe my question around that is, bakit walang parang nag-i-sports law sa Philippines? And maybe why is it that you're actually the first one sa dami ng the lawyers that came before you, bakit ngayon lang nagkakaroon ng emphasis around sports law? And why did you decide to pioneer it knowing that there are other people na could have done it pero hindi nila ginawa?
Well, I can't really speak for others. And I'm not the first one to practice sports law in the Philippines because there are a lot of lawyers. So, ganun.
Right.
Sports law kasi, it's basically the application of laws in the context of sports.
Right.
So you have a lot of legal principles like tax law, torts law, contracts law. Once you start applying it to an athlete, then that's sports law. Then you have also like these specific sports legislation like yung Student Athlete Protection Act, yung National Athletes and Coaches Benefits Incentives Act. That's sports law also. Sports law rin yung mga WADA code or yung rules ng FIBA, rules ng FIFA.
Anti-doping. Yeah.
Anti-doping. And a lot of Filipinos practice it, right? So SBP, they have lawyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
PBA commissioner before, Sinoli Yala was a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of lawyers who practice sports law. Siguro people think lang that I'm pioneering it because I wrote a book about it and I'm really pushing for it as a holistic thing.
Right.
But I don't want to take away from other people who are practicing it. So when people say that I'm pioneering it, I'm really happy for it because one of my goals talaga is to make it mainstream and to teach people that it can be a viable field of practice. Because if you look at it in the States and you look at it in Europe, it's really something that's super super broad and super in-depth that lawyers actually earn a living just on practicing law. Like last year I was in London and I met a lot of sports lawyers there. There was a sports lawyer from Madrid, from Valencia in Spain. Yung practice niya is just dealing with football players. As in yung transfer of players from one football team to another sa UEFA.
Right.
Yung isa namang lawyer from the States, all he does is anti-doping. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
For me, that's what I want to get into in the future. Or at least that's what I'm trying to build. To have my practice that can sustain my livelihood based purely on sports law. Sa Philippines, wala pa masyadong ganyan. Kasi our sports business isn't as developed as in Europe or
Yeah,
as in
economics-wise.
the States. Yeah, because ganyan naman sa law eh. Pag pumapasok na yung pera, dyan nagbe-build yung practice, right?
Correct.
Because there's more at risk, and that's where they start asking lawyers for help. But here in the Philippines, I always say that sports law is at its infancy because people aren't aware yet that there are legal issues around sports, right?
Yeah.
Kunyari, you're a PBA player, tapos bigla ka magka-COVID sa bubble, who's gonna pay for your medical bills? Is it in your contract? Have you been given an insurance? Has the team taken an insurance policy for you? Are they obliged to take an insurance policy for you based on your contract? So those are sports law issues, right? Or yung mga ang dami na cancel. UAAP na cancel siya.
Right.
Paano yung mga scholarship contracts?
Right.
Can the school just cancel your scholarship contract? Now na hindi ka makakalaro. Condition yun ng scholarship contract mo to play for the school.
Yeah.
Those are legal issues that people have to think about, right? So my goal as a sports lawyer is to make people aware that there are legal issues around it, because once we start asking these questions, then we're on the right track, and then once we start answering them, then we can start building foundations to having a better sports environment in the Philippines. Because everything has to have a legal foundation for it to grow, whether it's in banking or business. Sports is no different. And nakakalimutan yung legal aspect ng sports sa Philippines because people don't know about it. So people just keep putting up teams, putting up leagues, not knowing na, ay, shocks, labor law pala mag-a-apply dyan, tax law pala mag-a-apply dyan. Tapos kung magkasira-siraan, everyone's gonna start going to court, everyone's gonna start complaining, and then I'm gonna be with other lawyers and say, dapat alam niyo yan to begin with. Diba? Build the foundations so it doesn't crack in the future. So that's one of my main goals for law in the Philippines.
Yun. Ken, may
Super
nag-comment na.
interesting.
Kaya nga, alam ko,
Yeah,
That's my rant.
Yan na.
Yeah, actually nag-comment of course, the president and founder of, one of the, if not the biggest recreational league here in Manila, si Kings of the Court, no? Si Boss Cholo Legesma. Yan, hello FLOTG fam and attorney Mickey Ingles. Had I known what I know now sa basketball rules, its application, pagsentensya at pagsagot sa protesta, I would have taken law too. May thoughts ka ba dyan? May thoughts ka ba dyan, Mickey?
Mahirap mag-law school. So if that's the reason why I want to take law school, hire a lawyer na lang. Hire a lawyer. Don't waste 4 years of your life.
Tama. Hire mo na lang si Mickey Ingles. Yan. Diba?
Yan.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because apparently kasi, nung episode namin, just to give you a background, siya mismo yung president and founder ng Kings of the Court. Instead of yung mga tao, siya yung sumasagot sa mga reklamo ng games nila. So parang he had to read through all the rules, especially FIBA rules, and then he had to respond in a manner wherein he had to cite certain technicalities doon for para at least pag nag-respond siya, it's easily understood by the complainants, diba? So
I remember parang isa kami sa mga teams na Bostolo. Parang when we joined the league before, parang meron nata kaming interaction with Bostolo na I don't remember, but feeling ko isa kami dun sa mga teams na yun.
Tama. Pero attorney, like you said, 'di ba, parang infancy pa lang tayo sa sports law. And I'm sure may mga nag-message kasi sa akin na curious sila. Actually, ako curious ako sa sports law. Like, it's establishing pa lang tayo ng foundation . But as of the moment, while you're establishing the foundation, parang what typically are the cases that you handle? Kasi I heard from Alexa, who was your associate, she's under you, yung pag-asikaso nyo kay Kiefer going to Japan to play in the Japan basket, 30 for the Japan Basketball League, kayo yung nag-asikaso nun. Pero apart from that, ano bang normally cases na hinahandle nyo ngayon as of the moment?
Usually mga problems of players with their teams. Yeah, so we handle the case sa FIFA naman. yung nag-issue isang Japanese player, British player with their team here in the Philippines kasi nag-disband yung team, pinramis yung pera, ganyan-ganyan. What about the contracts, di ba?
Right.
So yun, sa mga contractual issues. Other issues, not really cases, but advising clients when it comes to endorsement deals.
Right.
Hindi naman lahat adversarial. Like yung kay 30, that wasn't naman adversarial. It wasn't really a case. It was just helping to protect him when he goes to Japan. To
Right.
protect him as an overseas foreign or contract worker, diba? So maraming ganyan, mostly advising and then contract review to make sure that our clients are safe and protected when they sign a contract with either a team or an endorser or with an agent, ganyan.
Right.
So mostly ganyan, advocacy of athletes and protecting their rights.
Yun.
Pang,
Ikaw, Kat,
ano
may
dun?
add ka ba? Yan.
Ay, sige, Kat.
Ikaw, again. Meron ba kayo add?
Go ahead.
Kasi
It makes a lot of sense, yeah. For me, it makes a lot of sense to protect technicalities of it. And I think advantage si Attorney Mickey yung attorney mo kasi meron siya experience as an athlete eh.
Yeah.
May experience as an athlete eh.
Oo,
Yeah.
kasi importante yun, na he had that experience. Parang parang kumbaga mas lalo niyang naiintindihan talaga yung what
True.
goes around it eh. So
True.
kahit minsan kasi yung iba madali lang dadaanin ka lang sa words or ikaw pag alam mo yung ginagawa mo, sure ka diyan paglalaban mo yan, 'di ba? So,
True. Yes.
may advantage talaga yung having the knowledge of the sport of sports and then you being a lawyer, 'di ba? So, yeah.
Yeah,
Ken?
definitely. It helps a lot. Parang not only that you can speak the language, but you know that the people you're talking to can trust you because you've experienced it as well.
Yeah. So, ano yun eh, parang additional ano rin yun sa'yo eh. Kasi having important yung trust that people gives to you, 'di ba? So,
Yeah,
and you shouldering it, at least ikaw sa sarili mo, confident ka na, I can do this. It's,
Yeah.
I'm Mika Ingles, I'm attorney Mika Ingles. I can do this. Yeah.
Comes with practice. Comes with practice lang talaga.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I think you mentioned din naman, you had meron kang mga self-doubts and challenges by doing itong pag-proliferate ng sports law dito sa Philippines. Maybe you can, share a bit about that na what goes around yung ginagawa mo ngayon as of the moment. Kasi as of the moment, di pa siya ganun nagbubunga eh. Parang infancy stage pa lang. Can you talk about that, yung challenges and self-doubts around this?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of self-doubts talaga. Kasi there's no blueprint naman for like what I'm doing. At least blueprint here in the Philippines, like building a sports law practice. There's a blueprint in the States. There's a blueprint in Europe. But syempre, we're here in the Philippines. So for me talaga, whenever I get self-doubts, parang is this what I'm supposed to be doing, ganyan, I always go back to one of my core habits. That's writing, right? Right. And that's why I started Batas Sportiva in 2016. Kasi one of the ways that I can show na sports law is a thing is by getting the word out there and educating people. And one way to do that is by opening up a blog where we have a lot of articles talking about sports law as applied here in the Philippines. So that's one of the ways that has helped my doubt, and it's one of the ways that has actually helped me build practice, because a lot of people have found me through the blog, have found me through Twitter when I talk and tweet about sports law on Twitter and social media. People know me through those avenues and have connected me through those avenues. And these have led to other clients and other people who have gotten to help. So for me, I always go back to when I'm feeling self-doubt is that I'm a huge Hamilton fan. Are you guys familiar with Hamilton?
Yes.
Yeah. So, si Lin-Manuel Miranda, the guy who wrote Hamilton, he's Hispanic, the way he's Puerto Rican, New York native. I remember when he was writing In the Heights, yun yung una niyang musical, he said na no one's gonna give me the lead role of a Broadway musical because he's not a super good singer, he's a good rapper, and he's
Correct.
not a typical white dude, right? So what
Yeah.
you do is you write a role that's swak for yourself. And that's why he wrote In the Heights. That's why he wrote Hamilton. The way Hamilton is written, it's for people of color. It's hip hop, di ba? Na may mix of jazz, na may mix of may rap. Because ganun siyang tao eh. So for me, I try to write myself into existence like what he did with Hamilton. And I'm writing, that's why I write. That's why I write about sports law. That's why I wrote a book. Because this is something I want to do. And if mahirap siya gawin now kasi like practice-wise, at least people will know it's there and people will see me as the person writing these things. Right? So it's all about creating talaga your own niche and image. And does that make
Tama.
sense ba?
Yeah.
Kasi
Yeah. Oh.
it's clearer in my head.
Tama. So meron din pala
You
yung
write your
yung
way to its success.
so
Yeah.
so meron din palang days that you have self-doubts, you parang ano parang ano yun, you go through the daily grind. Meron palang mga days din for you that you face self-doubt, you don't feel like doing anything. Correct
Yeah.
ba? Yeah.
It's
So
not
yan.
always,
definitely.
it's not always, it's not always a good day. Diba?
Yeah,
Sometimes you have
definitely.
off days. And I think when you have off days, that's when you get to, that's when you get to go back to, yung time mo for yourself. You can go do that as yourself. You can self-reflect on things that you
Yeah.
do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, kaya naging Mickey Ingles si Mickey today is I think it's because of the challenges that he went through, and
Yeah.
parang kumbaga that's what makes a person great. Yung nalagpasan mo yung mga challenges na yun, 'di ba? And it toughens you up even more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of failures that people don't see
Mm.
because we don't really post our failures on social
Correct.
media. We
Yeah,
only
yeah.
see the
Yeah.
Tama.
shiny, glittery championship rings and the awards and the posts, right?
Right.
But a lot of blood, sweat, and tears go behind those things that you don't post about.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just curious now kasi syempre you're already an author of three books, 'di ba? May isang sports, may isang tax, may isa namang novel, 'di ba?
Novel.
Yeah, and then tama ba yung pagka-pronounce ko baka maano eh. Pero you're already an author, you're a practicing lawyer, you've topped the board exam. Parang you've parang sa lahat ng mga pinasukan mo, you were able to achieve the things. Yung iba in process, but the one that has napagdaanan mo na-achieve mo yung what you set out as a goal. Is there a secret formula for a Mickey English para for people to learn from? Kasi baka meron dito or makakanood ng replay, 'di ba, na gusto mong mag-top or I wanna achieve something, I wanna be a champion. Meron ka bang secret formula around that? Or same approach lang or different approach sa pagiging author, different approach pagiging football player? What are the things na pwede mong ma-share around that so maybe people can pick up a mindset of a Mickey Ingles?
Well, first off, I just want to make it clear naman na it's not all me. I mean, I have a huge and great support system when it comes to my family, my wife,
Yeah.
my friends, right? So it's not all because of me. And I come from a very blessed and privileged background, that I come from a good school, I come from a good family. And I don't have really, parang no issues naman economically, right? And those are big things talaga. And I don't want to discount them, but I also want to show that I am a product of my circumstance. And because of my upbringing, because of my education, I am where I am today. So it's not really about me, but not to say na I didn't do much or didn't do a lot of it, but I just want to acknowledge na not everything's because of me, right? Kasi, I mean, without my family, without them making sure that, I mean, I'm good financially and everything, I wouldn't have been able to do all of this, right?
Right.
But other than that, when it comes to mindset, it's just really like the exact three takeaways from my football days. It's really constant preparation, controlling really what you can control and not looking at the
Step by step.
results. And step by step. I always tell my students this, especially my first year students in law school. It's really important to start making good habits. Whatever point you are in your life, especially, I mean, especially if you're young, because right now I'm like 30, I forget how old. I'm turning 37. I'm turning 37 in Feb. And some of the things I do now, I realize I can trace them back to when I was in high school. Like bad habits, good habits, I can trace them back to high school. So, habits talaga. It's the power of habits. Like, power of habits and power of streaks. I like keeping up streaks. I like keeping up habits because they're the ones that get you past those days of self-doubt. Those days na parang tinatamad ka. Yun yung sinabi ni Kobe, don't negotiate, just do it, diba? Stick to your habits, stick to your goals, and stick to the daily grind. And so if people are gonna ask me how do you get to do all of this, given everything, I'm just gonna tell them it's every day. You just habit. Diba?
Yeah.
You wanna write something every day. You wanna learn a language, learn something every day. Diba? You wanna do something, do it every day. So I think that's the beauty of habits. Kasi maliit lang siya eh. Pero once you start building on it, parang wow, ang laki na nagawa ko.
Yeah.
Tama.
I'm curious also. Do you have regrets in those times?
A lot of regrets.
Yung like, could you like give an example like when if you compare yourself the mindset that you have today to the mindset of a high school football player, like how can you differentiate that person to the person you are right now?
Well, one of my regrets as a football player was not concentrating enough on fundamentals. On fundamentals. Kasi I really, my game talaga before was speed. Speed and quickness and athleticism. Pag ano kasi makakalimutan mo yung fundamentals eh. But now na medyo tumatanda na ako, I'm starting to appreciate the importance of fundamentals and good technique. And that's one of the things I regret not doing.
Right.
Lalo na seeing the kids now, whether it's basketball or football, sobrang galing nila sa mga fundamentals. And they don't, sabi nga ni Jordan before, I mean, fundamentals is fundamental to everything. You can't build on bad fundamentals. Diba?
Yeah.
Correct.
It's all
Although,
about the
tinan mo si
basics.
Lamelo, saka si Lonzo Ball. Diba? Not a fundamental jump shot, but
Yeah.
Tama.
Yeah, I know. Well, yun nga, iba-iba naman actually. Every
Yeah,
athlete
iba-iba
is
naman.
different from each ano. But yeah, I think yung generation kasi ngayon parang they forget that part of being an athlete. Eh. Parang they just want to be like better in what or they just want to be the best, that they forget, the basics of the sport.
Yeah.
And yeah, tsaka yung mentality nila na gusto lang nila maging
Highlight.
the best. Oh, yeah. To have a highlight or for fame. I don't know yung iba na yung mga ano nila, iba na yung goals eh. Pero yeah, it's important na you always have to go back to your fundamentals, to the basics for you. Tapos kasi nga yung yung mga bata hindi pa nila na-realize yan eh. But when you get older, like us, sabihin na natin us. Yeah, that's when you think about, oh yeah, I mean, I should have focused more on that. And right now, so yeah, I think naman we all have our regrets, but yun lang, gusto ko lang malaman yung mentality mo na when you were a high school and now that where you are right now as a lawyer. And sabi mo nga kanina na parang malaking tulong din kasi na yung football sa pagiging lawyer mo. So, yeah, alam mo, just listening the whole time na sobrang, I'm so amazed. I just really wanna say that. Sobrang nakatutok lang
Thank
ako.
you.
Kaya wala talaga. I mean, it's amazing the journey that you had, being a football player, being a lawyer, and yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Mickey, ito medyo technical question naman.
Gusto ko yung merong pahabol. Gusto ko yung may pahabol si Mickey na ganito eh. Ken, before that,
Sige.
since gumanyan si Mickey, curious lang ako.
Okay.
Curious lang ako. Ano rin ba, aside sa football, isang outlet mo ba sa work mo as a lawyer is, watching K-dramas,
Yeah,
K-pop.
K-drama, K-pop. Yeah, definitely. Lalo because of this pandemic. Diba,
Yeah.
biglang nagkaroon tayo ng panibagong Korean wave.
Yun.
I love it. It's good art. It's good good storytelling. And then especially like since it's IU Day today, right?
Yes!
A new song, Celebrity. One of the reasons why I love IU, kasi we don't understand it. Kasi we don't understand Korean naman.
Yeah.
But di ba meron mga explainer videos sa YouTube that explains her lyrics.
Yeah.
It's so genius and how her lyrics tie into other songs and how her lyrics tie into the music video, tas puro symbolism. And as a writer, I super appreciate it. And ang galing lang niya kumanta.
Yeah,
Baka merong nanonood sa atin na K-pop rin, di ba?
Santos, sana
Parang-
nanonood.
Highway na.
Ma-K-pop din ba si Carl, Ken?
Oo, crush na crush niya si IU eh.
IU.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ano bang
I mean,
Ang alam ko lang, BTS lang at saka Blackpink.
Blackpink. Yeah,
Blackpink.
I'm also a Blackpink fan. I'm a Blink, but also like IU.
Blackpink in the area. Yeah.
Right.
Sobrang vibes ko na talaga si Mickey because of that. IU. No. I'm
Meron.
IU. Man.
Meron.
Kaya nakita ko kasi, di ba, we were discussing it in the background kanina na yung shoes ni Mickey tonight is dedicated because of IU, because of na kahit I'm lang na he wore that kahit hindi naman makikita sa podcast. Talagang ganun siya ka-dedicated na as a fan, and yeah, sobrang. And lastly, IU is genuine. Blackpink yan, Blackpink.
Blackpink.
Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bias ko yan si Lisa.
Oh, Mickey, parehas lang kami. Guys, sobrang dami kong discoveries tonight. I just wanna say that IU and Lisa. Mickey, let's talk behind after this. Yeah. I just wanna, kasi malaki, I mean,
na kami.
Kasi madaming, well, during the pandemic, sabi nga ni Mickey, madaming naengganyo sa Korean, So I just wanna, because of, din, na, if naging part ba yun ng, niya, as his pastime, as one of his hobbies, kasi nga, sabi niya, hindi rin siya nakakapag-practice ng football. So, if that was a way for him to also set his mind off dun sa work, and, so,
definitely.
Yeah. Yun
Good
lang.
escape yan. Good escape.
Good escape. Gusto ko lang sabihin yun, guys.
Yeah.
Actually, ma-share ko lang, no? Since pinag-usapan nyo K-drama, K-pop, yung mom ko, before March pandemic, wala siyang alam sa K-drama. So, ako, a few alam ko. So, nagtatanong siya sa akin, anong panoorin? Tapos,
Dots
fast forward to now, lahat ng sa Netflix, pinanood lahat. Kasi, napanood mo na yan, hindi ko mo napapanood yan. Yeah, so, wala lang. Parang,
The
it's a
impact.
good, the impact.
Kaya sabi nga ni Mickey, madam, actually, yung the way it was well written, actually.
Yeah.
Yung,
Magaling talaga sila.
Magaling. So, ano lang siya, hindi lang siya parang hobby or like pastime. Parang you get to also learn from the
super.
each series or movies na ano.
Right.
Kasi it's a whole new world eh. So parang and you get to be in it. Parang you get a feel from it. So yeah. It's
Yun.
Love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay!
On a, on a serious note, nauupi na ako eh. Siyempre, pasok na tayo ng seryoso.
Gusto ko yung may ganyan siya.
Siyempre, di ba, gamit tayo ng, but the last time kasi we had a conversation prior to this, you kept mentioning itong quote from Steve Jobs na you can't connect the dots looking forward. Sinulat ko na nga siya. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. How would you explain that on your own context, Mickey?
Well, with sports law, like we don't know naman where this is going. Like
Right.
5 years ago when I was starting my career as a lawyer, I just said I want to get into sports law, but I didn't know naman na I would be helping a certain athlete, diba? Of a certain caliber, or like I didn't know that I'd be helping like the Ravenas or I'd be helping some volleyball athletes or some football players. Because we don't see the future, right? But
Yeah.
we want to at least have faith that the future is something that will be good to us, right? So since we can't predict the future, we do what we can right now. Again, goes back to you
Control.
controlling what you can, right?
Control.
So we do what you can right now. Like going back, like backtracking in my life, like when I was in third year law school, you were asked to start thinking about a thesis topic for school. And talagang pinush ko talaga, I want to do something sport related to sports law. Yung unang sports law topic ko na reject kasi hindi daw siya pang thesis, it's more for a policy. But I said, I want to still keep doing this. So I pushed for it. I found a thesis and then I wrote it. I wrote it well, defended it well, and how that dot connected to the future is that 5 years, 6 years down the road, that thesis got published in the States for a university in the States.
Wow.
So and then parang when I write about Batas Sportiva, when I started writing about doping, when I started writing about yung brawl dun sa Bulacan ng Gilas. So those are things that I just wanted to write about and educate people about it. And then after a while, I started getting clients. I started advising certain individuals and certain entities based on those. And those are actual dots connecting, right? So I put those dots. I wrote those things not knowing na may mapapala siya in the future.
Yeah.
But syempre, hoping na may mapapala siya in the future. And that's the whole thing with life. You really don't know what you're, like, if what you're doing now will connect or
Correct.
give you dividends in the future, diba? I mean,
Right.
but in the end, kasi for me, you do what you want to do what you love to do what you can do right now. Because who knows, tomorrow you might die. Diba? And if you're doing something you don't like doing and then you die tomorrow, di parang you just wasted your life. Diba? So, might as well do it now. Try to make yourself feel alive now. And have faith in the future na may paghuhugutan kang experience when you reach something or you try to advise someone.
Correct.
So yun, it's just do what you can now. Tapos bahala na. Eventually magko-connect yan or make it connect in the future.
Galing.
Yeah. Ayun. Mickey, ito may technical question naman ako, no? Kasi
Sure.
I have a lawyer friend. Actually, ito si Kobe Saya to, Kat. Si Kobe.
Si Kobe Saya yan?
Oo, kasi he just...
Lawyer na pala siya ngayon?
Lawyer na siya. Yan, he just passed the bar nung yung last.
Congratulations.
Ayan.
Yun.
So, I think it's very...
Yan sa akin ni Ken eh.
Okay. Aplikante mo.
Wala. Hindi.
Hindi, yun. Kasi parang boxing is probably one of the most brutal sports. Lalo sa Pilipinas kasi ano sila eh, pang there was this I don't know if you know this, yung kay Luisito Espinosa not getting his purse, ganyan. So medyo ano talaga sila, no? But eto, technical side lang. Parang in boxing daw, parang where do you draw the line when it comes to claiming injuries? Or liability for injuries rather sustained in an official match.
Exactly. So yan yung thesis ko.
Wow.
Talaga?
Okay. Sakto.
Yeah, so my thesis before was when can a participant in a sports competition sue another person for injuring him during the sports competition? Right? So
galing.
the basic rule is when it comes to US cases, you will be liable for injuring someone in a sport if number one, you intentionally hurt someone, right?
Right.
Or you recklessly disregard a safety rule or you violated a safety rule. Okay? Intentionally hurt someone, kaya nagbabasketball ka, tapos bigla kang suntukin. Right? Talagang, I mean, you can sue that person, right? Nangyari yun kay Rudy Tomjanovic when he got punched before, right? And then, the other one, yung reckless disregard of a safety rule, the background of it is, when it comes to sports kasi, when you play a certain sport, you assume the risk of injury. Right?
Yeah.
Kasi it's part of the game. Diba? You
Part
play
of the
basketball, baka ma-injure ka. When you box, you assume na susuntukin ka sa mukha. Diba?
Tama.
And in law, when you assume a risk, you can't sue someone when that risk happens. Kasi in Tagalog, ginusto mo yan eh. Diba?
Yeah.
Ginusto mo mag-boxing. Huwag ka magko-complain kung masuntok ka sa mukha.
True.
But there are certain ways that you can sue someone when it comes to sports when you get over this assumption of risk. And those instances are when there are risks which aren't assumed in the first place. And these risks which aren't assumed are when your safety is compromised. Right? And that's when you have to start looking at safety rules of a sport. So for example, boxing. What's a safety rule there? Bawal mo suntukin sa back of the head.
Sa likod, yeah.
Or bawal ka mag-low blow.
Below
Below the belt.
So if someone repeatedly punches you below the belt and then you get, I don't know, forever
Nabaog,
not
ganun.
able to use your mandible, you can sue. Kasi that's not a risk that you assume when you're stepping into the boxing ring.
Yeah.
So those are the instances. Or kunyari bigla kang sipain, kasi bigla kang concussion dahil sinipa ka, hindi mo sue yan kasi that's not part of the game. Pero kunyari sinusuntok ka lang, binubugbog ka lang, tapos you break your a bone in your face.
That's the risk that
You can't sue for that kasi that's part of a game. Diba? You assume that risk. So yeah.
Like for example, medyo ang tanga siguro ng question na to. So for example lang, a boxer loads his gloves with plaster. Tapos
Bawal
namatay
yan.
yun nga, pag namatay yung kalaban niya, he can sue him.
Yeah, you can
him
sue.
for murder.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah. Hindi naman murder. Well, pwedeng murder naman kasi it's intentional.
Hindi, iba pala.
Iba nangyari sa CSI yan.
Hindi, may ano kasi.
Kasi it's a safety rule eh.
Yeah.
Diba? I mean, your gloves should be fair. I mean, it should be checked by the commissioners. Kanya. But once you start cheating, diba? Tapos maglagay ka ng plaster dyan, tapos mamatay yung kalaban, tapos ma-discover nila. I mean, you broke a safety rule, you violated it, and then you intentionally used it pa, then you really can get sued for that.
Kasi before mo pa, ibig sabihin, sa umpisa pa lang, alam mo na yung gagawin mo eh. Yeah, the intention of, killing someone.
It's not,
so,
pandaya ka pa, di ba?
Oh, yeah.
Then parang may comment dito, I'm not sure
Si
if
John
it's...
Maverick. Actually, yan yung related dyan. Kasi,
Ayan ba?
I remember, nung fight ni Pacquiao before Margarito had the fight against Miguel Cotto. Kay Shane Mosley, prior to the fight, the trainer of Mosley discovered na may plaster yung gloves niya.
Yes.
Oo. Tapos, one thing led to another. Tapos, meron pa isa, I don't know, Mickey, if you know yung kay Billy Resto ba yun? Basta a boxer, mga 60s, 70s. Tapos, basta niload niya yung gloves niya, tapos namatay yung So, parang yun lang yung ko. Parang naalala ko lang about it.
Well, yeah, those are violations of safety rules. Or at least you're disregarding the safety of your opponent because you're cheating. So you should really be held liable for that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
Sikat.
Go, Ken. Go. I'm just gonna...
Yeah, so, well, sabi mo nga, Mickey, you're still establishing sports law here in the Philippines. Pang, as an ambassador of that, as a teacher of that, how do you think we can improve in terms of yung knowledge and practice of sports law? Particularly yung mga tao talaga. Kasi, syempre, iba talaga yung culture dito eh. Parang talagang ako mismo, wala talaga ako alam. I'm learning a lot from this episode actually.
Well, I think education is really the key. Not We don't really need like formal education. I mean, I don't ask people to attend sports law classes, right? But
Yeah.
just listening to experts, I think that's one of the things that has gone the way of the dodo in our generation now. Is that because of social media and because of the access to information, it has been easier to access misinformation,
Yeah.
and it has been easier to mistrust people who are experts in certain fields, whether it's in sports or sports law or
Correct.
whatever. So don't be afraid to message people who you think are experts in a field and ask for advice. Kasi malamang sasagutin ka yun eh. Diba? If you're unaware of a certain subject, feel free to ask. Diba? Or feel free to Google and make sure that the sources you're studying are credible.
Correct.
Because I think once people start to know na, sports law is a thing, it's very important to help improve Philippine sports,
Yeah.
then people will become more curious about it and want to learn more about it, and hopefully practice it and see how important it is as a foundation for sports to really improve in the country. So I think education talaga is the key. Not necessarily formal education like going to schools, but just more awareness of it coming from experts.
Yeah. Ayan, actually may book sa likod ni attorney. You can just, if you want to educate yourself, yan. Law for the sports and the sporty yan. And of course, meron din yung Batas Sportiva, 'di ba? They can actually go through that. You guys have a website wherein people can, at least browse through and learn from those yung takes, yung blogs mismo from an actual sports lawyer. Yan.
Yes. Ano, Kat? You have ano?
Ano yun? Sorry. Wala.
Wala na. Okay.
Wala.
Yun, Mickey. So, yun nga, looking back at your career as an athlete and as a lawyer, like, of course, you mentioned na yung building habits, not renegotiating with yourself. But, yun nga, with the success that you've had, parang, ano yung feeling mong pwede mo pa i-improve on as a human being, as a lawyer, as a husband, ganyan?
a lot, definitely. A lot. I'm very flawed. There are a lot of things I still want to do. A lot of things I still want to improve. I want to finish writing the second book of Alinam. I want to improve as a teacher, improve as a lawyer. Constant improvement. That's the thing kasi when it comes to not being in school anymore. Kasi when you're in school, alam mo may katapusan yan eh, graduation, getting grades.
Tama.
When you're out of school, wala na yan eh, di ba? You don't, where am I headed, di ba? I mean, so it's just a matter of creating goals for yourself that will make you motivated to keep improving every day. So, and one of those things is self-reflection. Parang, I'm not that good in this aspect of my life. How can I improve it? Those things lang. And there are a lot of things to improve.
Naglag ba siya?
Mickey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mickey?
Medyo nag-lag.
Yan, okay na.
Ayan, naglag.
Yan, okay
I'm
na.
back.
You're back.
Constantly improving. Yeah. I think yun nga yung ano.
Yeah, that's it. Constant improvement.
Yeah. And being consistent in your drive and in what you do.
Yeah.
I think being consistent is also key to be
Definitely.
successful. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And if there's maybe a thing or two that you want to impart to people that's watching us, with when it comes to your journey, or if they want to achieve something, parang siguro what would you impart? Or is it the same thing as you mentioned, yung tatlo na binanggit mo na rin kanina?
Yeah. I guess aside from it, just do the work. Do the work. There's a difference between talking about the work and doing the work.
Mm.
Right? We
Big
hear a lot of
difference.
people talking about, lalo pag January 1, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that.
Resolution.
Day 1
Diba?
of
You can-
365, mga ganyan, no?
Diba? You can say a lot of things, but in the end, it's about doing the work. I see that a lot in law school. A lot of students say, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And then when we give them the workload, they pull back and say, nah, it's not what I signed up for. It's too much, it's too hard. But look, you have to do the work. You have to do the work with anything. Whether it's
Correct.
to be a lawyer, to be an athlete, to be a podcaster, you really have to do the work. And don't be afraid of the work. Embrace the work. It's what's going to help you improve. It's what's going to help you be a better person, be better at your craft. So do the work.
Yan.
Wow.
Baka yung iba dyan, hindi na ako mag-K-pop or hindi na mag-Korean. Okay?
Sino ba yun?
Sarap naman yung K-pop eh.
Yeah.
Oh. Grabe.
Yeah.
Try mo rin
Of
yun,
course.
Dino.
Oo.
Yeah, sige. Hindi, I watch Descendants of the Sun. So, I think that's something na, yun lang yung actually natapos ko na Korean novela.
Yung startup ba, di mo natapos?
Hindi niya tinapos.
Hindi ko tinapos kasi
Ano yan?
good boy ako eh. Good boy ako.
Hindi.
Parang it was
Mickey,
it was too
si
hard
Dino
for
yung
me to
isa
finish.
sa mga hanggang umpisa lang. Yan ang hindi niya tinapos.
Hindi,
Dino.
just naman yun.
Dino, whatever
Tapusin
your
mo yan.
goals are, tapusin mo yan.
Tapusin mo yan.
Wala akong regrets.
Nasakya ka na.
Wala akong regrets. Hindi kasi
Para kay
masakit for
Kobe
me.
For Kobe.
Simulan mo, hindi mo tinapos.
Eto, syempre, your student, si Kiko Rojas, no? Preach. Yan. Do the
Alam mo
work.
yan. Alam niya.
I think
alam mo yan, Kiko. Alam mo yan.
I think I totally agree with this na it's easy to say it but it's hard to execute on it eh, diba? You gotta do the work to make it happen. Ganun.
Yeah.
And of course, Miki, it's also an opportunity for, to talk about certain endeavors you have right now, and one of which is actually the law firm that you work for, which is the law firm of Ingles Calderon. Ingles Laurel Calderon yan. So ILC. So maybe talk about it, and we're just gonna flash yung website, yung
Sure.
social media. What's it about?
So our law firm is the law firm of Ingles Laurel Calderon. It's a firm that's been around for more than 25 years. Our expertise really is we're a business law firm, so we help people set up businesses, and especially foreigners who want to come in to invest in the Philippines. But one of our growing fields of practice is sports law and tax law. So if you have any sports law or tax law issues, feel free to reach us on our Facebook page. It's Ingles
Great.
Laurel Calderon. On Facebook, on Instagram, it's ILC_law. And then we have our website also, ilclaw.net.ph. So just hit us up if you have any issues when it comes to either putting up a business, or you want to put up a foundation, you want to put up a sports team, let us know. We can
Yun.
help. If you're an athlete who has a problem with your team, or if you're a team who has a problem with your athletes, just let us know as well. We might be able to help with the legalities of it.
Yeah, perfect. And of course, you're pretty much an active guy on social media. Maybe invite everyone to, maybe share to them what's the benefit if they follow you, di ba? At least anong makukuha nila apart from K-pop, of course, di ba? Nabanggit na natin during the episode. Maybe invite everyone to actually, follow you, and then on your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah, so Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, it's at Mickey Ingles Law. So yeah, if you follow me, you will get almost daily updates on IU and what she's doing.
Yun, so
other than
Alam
that,
ko na kung sino pala yung may message.
other than that, I talk a lot about sports and sports law on my social media feeds. I also talk about tax law as well. I try to demystify tax law so everyone can understand it. And I also talk about my novel, Alinam.
Yeah.
on my social media feeds.
Yep. And speaking of, so yan, you can check out ILC if you need legal support from the law firm of Ingles, Laurel, and Calderon. And, if you wanna follow yung take ni Mickey sa IU tsaka sa sports law and his book right now, you can follow him on his Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Mickey Ingles Law. And of course, speaking of Alinam, maybe you can share where people can get it. And I think meron kang binanggit na it can be personalized, no? May personalized message.
Yeah. So you can buy Alinam anywhere. National Bookstore, Shopee, Lazada, they're online stores. But if you want like a personalized copy of it, go to the Summit Pop Fiction website. The link is actually there in my bio on Instagram. So if you click on that link in the bio of my Instagram, you will be led to the Summit Books Pop Fiction page. In there, you can order a personalized copy of the book. So you order it, you write down anong dedication gusto mo doon, you write it down, and then we send it to you.
Yep.
So that's pretty fun. And then the book is pretty fun as well. So hopefully anyone can read it. I want to give a shout out to the artist, si Rica Diaz, who is an amazing artist, drew the cover, drew the chapter art of each chapter of the book. And it's amazing. So hopefully you guys can read it.
And I think it's also perfect as a gift, no? If you have a friend who likes reading books, right?
Yeah. Diba? Or kahit hindi mahilig magbasa ng libro.
Yeah. Pwede. Para magbasa na rin siya.
Para magbasa, yeah.
Oh, tama. Yeah. And of course, it's a good gift as well. So, pwede pa. Sa Valentine's, di ba? Instead of flowers or chocolate. Pwede ka lang mag-iba ngayon. Ibahin mo yung style, di ba? Mali mo, hindi ka nire-replyan dahil chocolate yung pinapadala mo. Ibahin mo yung style mo. Baka mag-iba yung result, di ba? So, change your action.
Parang hugot ka naman yan.
Hindi. Walang
Hindi talaga mawawala yung the Dino hugot eh.
And of course, Miki, you still have two other books that you can promote to everyone. Of course, the first one is, the law for sports and the Sporty. Maybe talk through us what this book is all about and where people can buy it.
So Laws for Sports and the Sporty, it's the first and I think it's the only sports law book in the Philippines. It's a book that's written not for lawyers. It's a book for everyone to enjoy. I try to write it. I wrote it in a way that it's not legalistic. It's a Q&A. Tapos maraming hugot dyan. Actually, maraming talagang hugot dyan. And there are a lot of situations which happen to a lot of athletes and a lot of clients. So it's Q&A. It's easy to read. It covers mostly everything that you have to know about sports law. You can buy it in any Rex bookstore, and I think National Bookstore carries it as well. But Sure Shot, it's carried by the Rex bookstore. You can go to the Rex online account, Rex online store, and just type Laws for Sports in the Sporty. It's a fun read. It's you can read it anywhere. Read it in the bathroom, wherever. It's a super easy read. It'll give you an overview of sports law in the Philippines.
Right. Yan, perfect. And of course, yung pinakaayaw kong topic sa tax, di ba? So maybe talk us through your two other books, which is Tax Made Less Taxing.
Yeah, Tax Made Less Taxing. This is my first book in 2015. The ones shown in your screen right now, it's 2018 version. There are two versions of that. It's the main book plus the train supplement. This is such an amazing. I don't wanna pat myself on the back, but it's a good book for people studying law, for tax 1, tax 2, tax review, and for bar subjects as well. This is actually my notes which I used for my bar exam. It's now in a book form. The new edition's coming out, but it's gonna come out, I think, I'm not sure when, either in the next couple of months. So if I were you, I'd still buy the 2018 edition. It's still good with the train supplement.
Correct. Yan, perfect. Yeah, ako interested na ako dun sa the sports thing. Kasi syempre, we're in the industry of sports. Laking bagay if you're pretty much aware of certain things, di ba? So marami pa tayong...
Definitely.
Yeah, perfect. Ayun, I think this is also a perfect opportunity for us to appreciate Attorney Mickey Ingles for gracing us tonight and for sharing so many things to us. Maybe Ken, you wanna start it off?
Yeah, so Mickey, bago 'yun 'no, Dino, utang ka na sa amin nila Mickey saka ni ano, saka yan attorney ka na, eh. Mga ₱50 ka na
Oo nga,
siguro.
eh. Nakarami na, nakarami na.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, on a more serious note, Mickey, of course, thank you very much for gracing our episode. Naalala ko nung unang nakita kita sa Twitter. So, na-curious lang ako. Like, ang una nakita ko was yung yun nga, you were handling for this case. Di pa, not case, but handling his, yun, yung
Japan.
pagpunta niya sa Japan, yung mga clearance niya. Actually, di ko na natanong eh. Pero yun, I'm sure it was a tedious process. So, yun. And yun nga, parang nung una medyo kinaabahan ako for this episode kasi syempre, you're a lawyer. Um, Parang wala talaga akong alam sa law. But it was a pleasant surprise na ang dami na napag-usapan. Like yung K-drama, K-pop. So, yun. Actually, it was really fun. I really had fun during this episode. And yun, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you
Ken.
also. Thank you.
Kat?
Ako, well, dami akong na-discover eh. So, no, again, thank you, Mickey. Actually, yung sabi nga kanina, we go way back pala eh. I mean, I really, but thinking about it now, yeah, I remember. And it's so good to have talked to you about your journey and yung to go through your mind. I was really amazed. I was really into the things that you were saying, and the journey that you had was so amazing and inspiring as well. So thank you for sharing that with us. And yeah, regarding the other stuff, you can just later later we can talk about it. But no, yeah, it's an honor and a privilege to have this episode with you tonight. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
Ako,
use this
attorney.
thank you as well.
Yeah. Attorney ako.
Attorney Noel.
Attorney, Mickey pala. Mickey.
Okay,
Dalawa
segment ka
yun.
na.
Dalawa yun.
Mickey, for me, I just want to thank you for, just reminding me to just do the work. Diba? Wala talagang iba. If you wanna achieve something talaga, I have to do the work. Nothing else will do the work for me. I have to do the work itself. So, thank you so much. Ikaw, may parting shots ka ba, Mickey? And you wanna shout out people then before...
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for having me over. It was a fun talk. Didn't realize na magto 2 hours na tayo. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the marketing materials.
Yeah.
Really, it was super professional how you guys did it. So
Yeah.
congratulations on how you guys have been doing the show and doing your research and doing your doing the work. So
Yeah.
you guys have done it well so far. So congratulations with that. Congratulations with all your shows and
Yeah.
congratulations with your future shows. I just want to give a shout out to everyone watching. Shout out to my wife. Hello. I'm not sure if you're watching, but I'm gonna see you in 5 minutes. Want to shout out to my students who are watching. Hi Kiko. I think you're the only student watching, but
May bonus points ba?
wala na kasi
Wala.
abogado yun si Kiko eh. Manilibre na lang yan soon. So I just want to thank all my students who have been there in this journey, who have trusted me in teaching them, and to my clients as well. My clients, I consider them my partners because can't really do work without them. So thank you so much.
Yan. Thank you, Mickey, for spending this night with us. Hiniram ka muna namin sa wife mo, di ba? Sana okay pa rin kayo.
2 hours din yung Lino.
Or hiniram natin siya from IU, di ba? Kasi syempre, IU day to day, di ba? So, Ayan.
Text
Thank
ko
you
si
so
Ayu
much.
mamaya. Understanding
Yeah.
naman yun.
Ayan.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Mickey. I hope we can still keep in touch. And siguro, pag nagkaroon kami ng
Definitely.
kaso, di ba? Meron tayong lalapitan.
Huwag kayo magkakaso. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nako.
Maging mabait. Mabait naman ako eh. So, wala naman. Ayan. Thank you, Mickey. Have a great evening.
Thank you,
And
guys.
looking
Thank you.
forward seeing you grow more sa journey mo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ayan. Grabe.
Wala na nag-zoom in na malaki. Galing na hindi na mag-technical ano.
Yun. Nakuha ko na.
Ayun no, ang saya. Actually, talaga nung una na-intimidate ako eh. Kasi
Yeah,
Actually ako din eh. So, sa totoo lang. Sa totoo lang
Right.
na-intimidate ako eh.
kasi
Pero,
parang pag
grabe.
sinabi mo na law, di ba, parang, we're gonna go technical on this. But then,
Yes.
as we go through the episode, like tonight's episode, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun talking about it. Na it was so interesting na parang there were moments that talang I was really just listening to what Miki was saying. So yeah, it was very informative, and I learned a lot actually. So yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Ang
ready no.
Ako pinaka-takeaway ko, uy, kita pa yung ring light ko. Ba yan? Ayusin natin. Kakapuri lang ni attorney. Teka, nahulog eh. Kakapuri lang ni
18 pesos
attorney.
ka na. 90.
Pero,
90 na 90.
like, ako, biggest takeaway ko, napuri tayo ni Mickey sa ano natin, sa production natin, di ba? Coming from someone that's excellent and at the same time, top-notcher yan. I got intimidated because syempre, magaling na tao to eh, and you're gonna learn so much from him. So I hope yung mga nanonood nyo yun, if kakarating nyo lang, you can watch the replay kasi sobrang ganda ng lessons niya. And yun, sa biggest takeaway ko, approve tayo ni attorney ng top-notcher ng verdict.
Yes.
Yun.
Yeah. Ako naman, yun, biggest takeaway lang, no? Before we promote our yung social media accounts.
Social media.
Ako, biggest takeaway ko, yun nga, never renegotiate with yourself. And sa akin, natutunan ko yan actually sa pagbabike eh. Kasi, pag nagbabike ka, parang you have nothing to hide eh. You have nowhere to hide eh. Pag nandun ka na sa gitna ng daan mo, parang hindi mo pwede sabihin na parang wala ka, di ba, alaman teleport button, wala namang...
Kasundo ka na.
Oo, di ba?
Ay,
Hindi
oo.
pwede eh. Hindi pwede eh. So, kumbaga, kahit sabihin, parang, hindi, hanggang dito lang ako. Hindi pwede kasi nandun ka sa kalagitnaan ng ano eh. And I think, na-apply ko din sa buhay ko. Like, of course, may asawa na ako. Parang you can never have off days talaga eh. Kasi, hindi lang sarili mo iniintindi mo eh. Kailangan mo intindihin yung bahay, kailangan mo intindihin yung wife mo, di ba? Kailangan mo, yung mga ganong bagay. So, I think, sobrang nag-resonate sa akin yun.
Parang I think if you do the work, you have to stay committed to it.
Yeah.
Diba? Yun yung ano ko din eh, isa din sa takeaways.
Actually, madali magsimula kat eh. Mahirap yung consistency.
Yeah, yun nga, diba? We talked about that na yung, when you go through a challenge or when you feel that you failed.
Di ba? May
some
pinagdaanan
way.
lang tayo ng isang araw lang.
Yeah, but then like, it's sabi ko nga when we talked about it, it's I think it's a room, it's an opportunity for us to grow, to be better in what we do. So it's something ano talaga, yung process to be
basic
to be consistent,
basic
to be committed to it. Kailangan nandun talaga. So yeah, guys. So if you like this episode,
galing.
Kabisado, guys. No, so if you guys like this episode, tonight's episode, the three of us learned a lot from tonight's from our tonight's guest, and we would like you guys to also be inspired by his story. So if you like it, please do like and share this episode link on your page, because we want to reach more people, and also parang to also help us spread good vibes in our growing community. So please continue supporting us and tune in our future episodes because umpisa pa lang to. Umpisa pa lang ng taon, but then you know what? We're starting with a bang, and yeah, there are few more inspiring guests coming your way. So yeah, again, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can it's at For the Love of the Game PH, and on Twitter we are at FTLOTGPH. And sabi ko nga kanina, um, finally we are now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. We are still in the
Upload.
process, yes, in the process of uploading our episodes.
Oo.
Actually, yung episodes nyo lang, actually, yung ano ko nga doon, season 1 eh. Season 1 nyo eh, yun last year. But
Yeah.
yeah, we are on the process of that. But if you are curious on how this whole thing started, please do subscribe to that also. So, yeah,
Yan.
there you go, guys.
Yan. Sa Spotify naman, kung gusto niyo share, paano ba mag-share sa Spotify? Screenshot, no? Screenshot, no?
I think may ano doon, may
Ah,
link.
pwede
You
ka
can-
may share.
May share
Pwede i-share,
URL.
no? So, pwede nyo i-share. Hindi nyo malalike, di ba, yung episode? Pero pwede nyo i-share. Pwede nyo
Well, I
i-spread.
think they can like it.
Pwede, pwede.
Okay.
There's
Pwede
a like,
pala.
there's a like.
Okay. Like nyo na din yun. I-like nyo na din. Pati
You,
yung sa YouTube.
after you subscribe, you listen to our episodes, you like our episode, and then do find the share the URL link, and then send it to your friends. Yeah.
Tapos, pag may kilala kang single na friend, ayan, de joke lang. Ulit, taas ka muna sa single sa February 14, di ba? Kasi palapit na yung February 14, di ba? Malamig yung ano natin, malamig na naman, Kat, ang February 14 natin, no?
Okay lang ako. I'm
Okay
good,
lang.
guys.
I'm good din. Nalalamigan
I'm
lang
good,
ako pag
man.
February 14.
Ako hindi ako lamigan eh. So
Okay.
I'm good. Hindi ako lamigan. I can deal with that, like, you know, I'm good.
Yun.
So ako, I would just like to take this opportunity na pasalamatan yung Dream Team. First off, kayong dalawa, Kat and Dino. I'm really, at pangalawang episode pa lang natin to together. I must say, I'm really having fun. Kahit ito, hosting the show with you guys. So ito, dami pa nating episodes for this year. Looking forward to that. Of course, our graphic artist, Neil Fernando. Our video editors, si Vin Cuevas, John Cristobal, who's responsible sa career highlights, CJ Apale, Berge Montalvo, Kiefer Indionco, John Kaiser Taylaran, Arnie Fuentes, and Christian Dave Marquez. So, may na-miss out pa ako. Wala naman, no?
Saka yung naging part ng team natin na nakatulong sa atin. Just wanna acknowledge those people na we're still in touch, di ba? Mi-meet ko nga tomorrow si Ice, di ba? So, thank you guys for being part of the team. Yun.
Si Ice, si Ian, si Kathy.
Marami.
Si Roan, si Marion, si Coach JM. So, guys, maraming salamat, no? Sobrang excited ako na ma-meet kayo kasi, yun nga, just to share to our viewers, talagang dito lang kami nagmi-meet. With the exception of Dino, na-meet niya si Kat in person. But most of us talaga, dito lang kami nagbabanding. Talagang yung mga meeting namin dito lang. So, to have 27 episodes with that kind of setting, sobrang, wala lang, grateful lang ako na talagang na-reach natin to. And hopefully, dumami pa. And yun nga, dapat abangan nyo yung mga next episodes. So ito, next episode sa February 3, 8 p.m. So sa February, love month yan. Love naming tatlo, basketball. So lahat yan. Lahat ng guest namin ngayong February, basketball. Basketball players. Either former or either former or current player. So sa February 3, ito, Ateneo na naman. Atenista na naman. Ito, Atenistang, pumapana ba siya? Yung may signature niya, parang shoot ng dress.
Parang.
Ganun di ba? Parang may baril yata, parang ganun. So, masabangan nyo yan, February 3. So, yun, ako, Dino, I would just like to take this opportunity rin, pasalamatan, of course, my beautiful wife, Nadia Miravalles / Pangilinan. So, bumili kami ng bagong ring light. Ewan ko, napansin nyo. Pinuhunan niya talaga yan. So, ayun, maraming salamat. And of course, plug in ko lang din yung kanyang YouTube channel, Better Days with Naj. And, of course, the Newbies Broadcasting Academy, especially Sir Noel Zarate, Sir Jay De La Cruz, our avid viewers, Arsenic Salangsang, Gab Freras, John Maverick Cheng, Carl Santos, Vanch Clarin. So maraming salamat guys. Of course, Yani Moya, Coach Rasuson, Coach Gina Atigbak, Sir Robert Sontan, si Kobe Saya, si Rap Pataho, tumulong sa akin na magtanong kay Attorney Mickey Ingles. So, yan. Of course, my family, Black Five, especially si Monica, si Sam, si Miko, and si Nicole Yebra, taga-Pakali Daet. So, yun. And of course, mga previous guests natin na nag-tune in, si Coach Gika Bernabe, sa si Coach Sandy Respacochaga, maraming salamat.
Yun. Kat, ikaw, baka may gusto mong pasalamatan.
Hindi ganun karami kagaya ni Ken. Dami, pero no, I just well, yeah, again, I of course my parents of supporting me. Tatlo lang kami sa we're a small family, so
Right.
you know, I want to thank them for always supporting me in what I do. So yeah, my family, my family members, my friends, and my coworkers in my day job. Yeah, so yun lang. And to all the viewers and the supporters and to my followers in my social media accounts. Guys, follow me at the Wonder Mamba. Nag-promote
Yun.
ng sarili.
Pwede, okay lang yan.
No,
Yeah.
well, if you guys want to be inspired or to be motivated, I do share my daily motivation there. So if you guys want to have that kind of mindset, which I'm really proud of, kasi parang for me, with yun yung nagawa sa akin ni Kobe. It always comes back to, you know, how Kobe inspired me. And to be an inspiration, you have to you have to be inspired to be an inspiration to others. So yeah, and I just wanna show that to other people and share my journey as an athlete or as a person, and because I learned a lot.
Ang
And
galing. Ang galing ng viewer natin, 8 na nanonood ngayon, tas 24 yung naka-react. 8:24.
diba? Oh
Galing,
my.
galing.
It's really
Galing
meant
sumakto.
it's meant to be. Kobe,
And of course, si
is for
John,
you.
si John Maverick Cheng already pumped up for February. Vanch, no, it's not, di ko kilala si Richie Tixon pero it's not Richie Tixon.
Hindi, mas bata naman dyan.
Mas bata naman dyan. Ayan, of course.
Si Coach Richie, baka mag-guess natin.
Tutulungan tayo ni Arsenic kay Dakis Tulungan niya tayo. And of course, si John, sabi niya, di bali nang walang ka-date sa Feb 14, may FTLO.
Yun.
Kaso Feb 14, I think, is not a Wednesday, no? It's
It's not.
It's a Sunday. So, sige, i-move namin yung episode ng 14 para...
Pwede naman daw, Dino.
Hindi kayo malungkot.
One-on-one daw. Parang, discuss mga lahat ng single.
Yeah. Of course, thank you, Kati. Love you all, guys. We'll continue to support you guys. Good luck sa work niya, di ba? Na night shift. And ako, I just want to thank, of course, my family, my friends, and my mentors who guided me to where I am today. And yung mga taong yung challenge me to be better, pinahirapan ako. I just wanna, yun, di ba kasi syempre, sabi nga niya, ni Attorney Mickey. So for me, thank you guys for believing in me, yung family, friends ko, and the viewers. So super thank you guys for supporting us and continuing on tuning in dito sa episodes namin. And to our future listeners on podcast, super appreciate you guys. Yun, sobrang thank you.
Ayan, so guys, abangan nyo nga, February 3, another Wednesday, 8 p.m. ang aming next episode. Former Ateneo Blue Eagle ang magiging guest namin. So, yun, sana sama-sama ulit tayo, no? So, yun, that does it for our episode for tonight. On behalf of the One Arm Mamba and Dino Lee, ako po si Ken Pangilinan saying so long and see you next time on the next episode of For the Love of the Game. Good night, guys!
Bye, guys!
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable,